You are about to make a mistake. In the next 5 seconds, you are going to want to reply, to explain, to defend yourself, to show them they were wrong. And if you do that, you lose. Not later. Not eventually. You lose in that exact moment. Because the truth is uncomfortable, and most people never hear it. When someone hurts you, they are not watching what you say. They are watching how much power you still give them. Every message you send, every reaction you show, every second you spend trying to be understood is proof that they still matter more than your peace. And that is where most people get it completely wrong. You were never supposed to fight for clarity with someone who chose confusion. You were never supposed to beg for respect from someone who already decided not to give it. Yet here you are, replaying the moment, rewriting conversations in your head, imagining the perfect words that will finally make them understand. But listen carefully, because this might sting. They already understood. They just did not care enough to act differently. And if that hit something inside you, do not scroll away. Stay here, because what you are about to learn will change how you respond forever. There is a silent shift that happens when you stop reacting the way they expect. A shift that most people never reach because it requires something rare. Discipline over emotion. Awareness over impulse. And the moment you access it, everything changes. So before you send that message, before you open that conversation, again, pause and ask yourself one question. Are you trying to heal, or are you still trying to be chosen? If you're ready to stop being the person who reacts and start becoming the person who moves in silence, stay with me. And if you feel this is exactly what you needed to hear, subscribe now and tell me in the comments what you almost said but did not. You are still thinking about them right now, are you not? Not because you want them back, but because a part of you still wants to be understood. And that is exactly where your power is leaking. The first shift is this. You stop showing up where you are no longer valued. Not loudly, not dramatically, not in a way that asks to be noticed. You simply become quiet. You stop replying instantly. You stop checking their name, their profile, their last seen. You stop making yourself available in the same predictable way. And at first, nothing seems to happen. That is the part most people cannot tolerate. The silence feels empty, almost pointless. But give it time, because silence does not work on your timeline. It works on theirs. In the beginning, they feel relief. They think they have escaped consequence. They assume you are somewhere, still thinking about them, still waiting. That illusion feeds their ego. But then the pattern breaks. A day passes, then another, and there is nothing from you. No message, no emotion, no signal, and slowly, something uncomfortable begins to grow inside them. The absence becomes louder than any argument you could have made. Because people expect noise. They expect reaction. When they receive none, their mind starts searching for answers you never gave them. That is where silence turns into pressure. Not on you, but on them. If you have ever chased closure, you know how addictive that urge can be. So do not lie to yourself here. Be honest. How many times have you checked your phone, hoping for something that never came? If that is you, pause this video and subscribe right now, because what you are learning is not about them, it is about taking your control back. The second shift is quieter, but far more unsettling. You begin to get better. Not in a way that screams for attention, but in a way that cannot be ignored. You start sleeping a little more peacefully. You start laughing again without forcing it. You begin to rebuild a version of yourself that does not revolve around their absence. And this is where something almost cruel happens, not because you intend it, but because it is real. They start to see it. Maybe through a passing moment, maybe through someone else, maybe just by chance. And what they see does not match the story they told themselves about you. They expected you to fall apart. They expected you to struggle. They needed that version of you to justify what they did. But now they are faced with something they cannot explain. You look fine. Not perfect, not pretending, just fine. And that single contradiction begins to break their certainty. Because if you were the weak one, why do you seem steady? If leaving you was the right decision, why does it not look like you lost anything? You never said a word, yet everything about you speaks. And that is what unsettles them the most. Improvement is not loud, but it is undeniable. Now here's the part most people avoid, because it forces you to confront something uncomfortable inside yourself. The need for an explanation. This is where people stay stuck for months, sometimes years. You replay the moment. You analyze every word. You build entire conversations in your head that never happened. You tell yourself that if you could just understand why, it would all make sense. But listen carefully, because this is where everything changes. the explanation will never be enough. Even if they sat in front of you and told you everything, it would not undo the feeling you carry. Because the closure you are chasing is not information. It is peace. And peace does not come from them. It comes from a decision you have been avoiding. The decision to stop asking. The moment you no longer need them to explain themselves, something inside you shifts. It is subtle, but it is powerful. You are no longer waiting. You are no longer tied to their words, their timing, their version of events. You close the door yourself. Quietly, completely. And in doing that, you remove the last piece of control they had over you. That is when they feel it. Not through anything you say, but through what you no longer need. And a question begins to surface in their mind, one they cannot easily silence. Did I lose something real? That question is where regret begins. If this is hitting deeper than you expected, do not just listen and move on. Leave a comment right now and tell me which part is hardest for you. Because awareness without action changes nothing. The final shift is the one that transforms everything because it no longer has anything to do with them. It is about how you begin to treat yourself. Think about what you wanted from them. Attention, patience, consistency, care. You wanted to feel chosen. You wanted to feel seen. And when that did not happen, you kept lowering your expectations, hoping they would eventually rise to meet you. Now you reverse that completely. You start giving those things to yourself. You protect your time. You become selective with your energy. You stop saying yes when your body is already exhausted. You choose environments that do not drain you. You surround yourself with people who do not make you question your worth. And slowly, without announcing it, you raise your standard. This is where the real shift happens. Because the version of you that accepts less disappears. And when they see that version of you is gone, the one who tolerated what they gave, the one who stayed, the one who waited, they are forced to face something they did not expect. Your value did not change. Your boundaries did. And now that value is no longer directed at them. That is where regret becomes unavoidable. Not because you tried to make them feel it, but because they finally see what they had when it is no longer available to them. So if you are still holding on, still thinking about what you could have said or done differently, understand this: your power was never in the perfect response. It was always in what you chose not to say, not to chase, not to tolerate. And if you are ready to step into that version of yourself, the one who moves differently, the one who no longer reacts the way they expect, subscribe now and stay with me, because this is where everything starts to change. If you are still hoping they will come back and fix what they broke, this is the moment you need to wake up. Not later, not someday, right now. Because the truth is, they already showed you who they are. And the longer you wait for them to become someone else, the longer you stay stuck as someone you were never meant to be. There is a quiet strength in walking away without an explanation, without a final message, without needing them to understand you. It does not feel powerful at first. It feels empty. It feels like losing. But that is only because you were taught that love requires effort even when it costs you yourself. But real power is different. It is choosing yourself when no one else does. It is closing the door gently, without noise, and never feeling the need to reopen it again. And when you reach that point, something shifts inside you. You stop waiting. You stop chasing. You stop needing. So if this touched something real in you, do not ignore it. Subscribe now and tell me in the comments what you are finally ready to let go of.